Well, welcome back to another from around Mijas live stream. And just to keep things in order, we have a problem with Alan Boardman, who was going to present things this evening. We did a test at 6 o'clock and everything was fine. And then we reconnected just a few minutes ago. And for some reason, his microphone isn't connecting. So I'm going to introduce his guest. And Sue Barnes, welcome to Around Mijas live stream. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Good evening to you.
Sue, whereabouts do you live?
We live in the Campo in Cohen, which is about 10 minutes from La Trocha Commercial Centre.
All right, so we're not too very far away. We live in the campo outside La Cala, so we're about 15 minutes away from each other.
Yeah.
And what brought you over to the Costas, Susan?
What brought me to Spain?
Yeah.
The million-dollar question. Yeah.
It's a long story, is it?
It's a long story, but to try and keep it short and sweet, I just came here on holiday 25 years ago to meet up with a friend and fell in love with the area and saw the possibility of being able to purchase land in a lovely area and build a house and bring my horses over, which was always my dream, to have the horses outside my window.
Now, listen, Alan has rejoined us, so I'm going to bring him in. And Alan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, Boardman. I know you're spending a fortune on all these events, but you need to buy yourself a new phone.
I know, I'm due. I'm overdue.
Sue was just starting to tell us about coming over on holiday 25 years ago and kind of falling in love with the place. I'm going to hand you over in just a moment, but just let me say something, Alan. I've just read, I think today or yesterday, that Simply Surviving has raised over 12,500 euros so far for charities. Is that right?
Yeah, that is right. It's amazing, really. I mean, Val Williams' dream is really coming true. It's just growing. We only, I think, 3 months ago, we had about 250 members on Facebook, and I looked about 10 minutes ago, and we've got 1,144. So it's really gathering momentum. Yeah, and the amounts that we're able to raise each month are going up. I mean, obviously, you know, we hope that S.E.A.R.C.H, Sue's charity, will benefit to that kind of level as well. We can't always guarantee it, of course. No. But at the moment, it's, you know, we seem to be doing everything right. Yeah. And we're getting incredible support, not only from individuals, but more and more businesses are coming on board as well, wanting to sponsor either events or donate prizes or auction lots and that kind of thing. So it's an all-round Costa del Sol team effort at the moment, which is just fantastic.
But that's also in addition, Alan, to, you know, the breakfast meetings and things that you're organising and bringing people into local businesses and spending a bit of money and having breakfast and a bit of company and things that as well. And, you know, that's hard to quantify, but it has to be helping some of the businesses as well.
Yeah, it's a good point you make, Bill. Thank you about the breakfast, because we have this thing called the Breakfast Club, and about every 10 days ago, we go to largely the smaller independent bars, which have been particularly badly hit by the pandemic. And at the last reckoning, we've actually ordered as a group 165 breakfasts at the various breakfast bars that we've been to. So obviously that is 165 breakfasts that collectively these smaller businesses wouldn't have had.
Exactly. Alan, I'm going to hand you over to Sue, or the other way around. I'm not quite sure which it is. And I shall sit in the background and listen and see if there are any comments and field those for you. I'm glad you got connected, mate.
Me too. Thanks very much, Bill. So belatedly, hi Sue, how are you?
Hi, Alan.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for agreeing to come on. I know that Bill's stolen my first question, which is how long have you lived on the coast? But what was it that originally attracted you to the Costa del Sol?
Well, I was just saying we were on holiday and I came to meet a friend, and she used to live around this area. So we came round to explore and fell in love with the countryside and saw the possibility of being able to purchase land, build a house and bring my horses over.
Right. How many horses did you actually bring?
Well, I had my own horse and I had a rescue pony. And they were in England. I was working all the time. And where we lived, they were in a livery yard. So it was always my dream to have horses on my own land, look out my window and look at them.
So you actually rescued a horse before you had an equine
Yes.
rescue charity?
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
what was it that first drew you to horses? What is it about horses for you?
Well, I don't know. I've been around horses like nearly 60 years. I hate to say it, yeah. I've always been passionate. They're very sensitive, highly intelligent creatures, and I find I have a strong affinity with them. And my own horse lived to the ripe old age of 32. I brought him over when he was 22, and we had a very strong connection. So when I lost him, I was absolutely devastated. I lost my pony as well. He lived to the age of 30. And then I decided that I would try and help as many horses as possible in his memory. And that's really how it all started.
Brilliant. So you established S.E.A.R.C.H. Just tell us, as best you can, where about S.E.A.R.C.H is, because I know that Val Williams and I came up to see you a couple of months ago, and it's kind of out in the wilds, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's why we wanted to come here, because of the land, and we're near to the river, and there's endless trekking, walking, dogs, horses. It's just for that alone, it's beautiful. So we're about 10 minutes from La Trocha, which isn't too bad.
Right. So first of all, what does S.E.A.R.C.H mean? It's an acronym, isn't it, for something?
Yeah. Well, because we're a Spanish registered association, as you know, and because a lot of our followers are English, we decided that we needed to find a name that translated from the Spanish, but a name that people could remember. So translated directly from Spanish, it's an association, a Spanish association for rescuing, caring and adopting horses. And so we've translated that to a Spanish Equine Association for Rescue, Care and Homing, which is S.E.A.R.C.H, which is what people could remember.
Right. Excellent. And when exactly did you establish S.E.A.R.C.H?
10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago. And how many horses did you start with?
We had 5 rescue horses that we sort of ended up with. That's another story. Like you do. And I then decided, what am I going to do with these horses? I'm going to have to start up a charity or something in order to fund it. And it looked like my path in life was kind of set en route. So that was the deciding factor. It wasn't easy setting up. Obviously, as you know, in Spain, there's a lot of paperwork. So it took 3 months of running backwards and forwards, Malaga, Coin, to get all the paperwork. And then, we finally made it, and we're now a registered Spanish association.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it? And it's interesting that you said that your sort of role in life, your path in life was set. And I think that's what happens to a lot of people who have a passion for something. That it almost happens despite you,
Yes,
and
exactly.
you worked very hard for it to happen, but it happened anyway, kind of thing.
That's right. Circumstances sort of threw it at me. I wasn't expecting it. It was the last thing I expected to do,
Yeah. It does look like, talking to you, just talking to you about horses, that you can see the enjoyment and the passion. It really does shine through, and I guess that does help you in your daily work with the horses. Yeah,
you couldn't do it in any other way, shape or form. If I was being paid, you couldn't pay me enough. And because I do it all for free, I do it out of love. If I didn't have the love, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah.
So what would you say are the aims of your charity, the aims of S.E.A.R.C.H?
Well, all the horses that we take in are abused, traumatised, emotionally as well as physically. They've lost trust in man, which is normal under the circumstances. They've all got different issues. They've all got different characters. They've all got different personalities. And each one of them takes longer or a shorter time period, depending on the horse, to build that trust. So the first thing we have to do is rebuild the trust between horse and human and give them a regular routine, because when they arrive, they don't know what day of the week it is. They never knew where their next meal was coming from, when they were getting water. Most of them were locked up and half starved and beaten. You know, you name it, they've been through it. And so the first thing that you have to do is say, right, just chill out. This is your routine. No stress, no pressure. Just settle in. You get fed the same time every day. You get taken care of. You get attention. Your needs are met. Your ailments are treated. And then after that, when you see that they've started to calm down and build a bit of trust in people, then you can start working with them, training them, and building a connection so that they can be manageable with other people.
Yeah, and I guess that with all the horses that you've had through the centre, you've seen all the extremes, really. I guess that some horses are quite pliable and quite calm, but other ones can be very difficult.
Yeah, we've had a very difficult case here. The most difficult horse I've ever had, because she was so traumatized. Sorry, my voice. She was so traumatized, she became very aggressive to people. Horses tend to have two ways of reacting to brutality and abuse. They either switch off completely and go into a world of their own, like they're living on another planet and then they can cope with it, or they become defensive, aggressive towards people. So this particular horse was aggressive, and we were advised by professional people to have her put to sleep because they said she was a no-hoper. But as you see, I've been posting videos of her, and we did turn her around. So yeah, it was fantastic for her because she really deserved a second chance. And I want to make them feel that all men are horrible.
How old is she?
She's about 11 now, and she's been here 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's no age. I mean, 7 years old when she came to you. Yeah. That's no age really to have a horse put down, is it? And it really is testament to you, to your dedication and determination that she's still with us.
Yeah, I'm a bit stubborn like that. I don't know. She'd bitten various people. I mean, even my husband ended up having to go to hospital with a badly bitten hand. She's okay. She was always okay with me, but you have to have eyes in the back of your head. So I was always very aware of how she was going to react. And I started training with her from right from the beginning. But I did give her quite a long time just to settle in with the other horses, because that was the other thing with her. She'd been taken off her mother very young, and she hadn't had much horse association. And when she came here and she saw all the other horses, it was like, wow, this is crazy. What do I do now? So we left her for 6 months just to get in with the other horses and learn to be a horse again, you know.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, you did mention there your husband Alan, and very sadly, only a few months ago in June, he passed away, and it was quite a sudden thing as well. It was only a matter of months from when he was diagnosed. So now you're faced with not only having the difficulty of running a charity rescue centre as you do, but basically running it alone. I know that you've said there was a lot of soul searching as to whether you should carry on. I mean, just sort of take us through the process that you had to go through before you decided that you were going to continue.
Well, it didn't actually take me very long, because when, there was no way I can let the horses down. And the thing is, the horses that I've got here are all very, very happy for the first time in their life. And when I get depressed or upset, I just look at their faces, and it just makes me happy. And what was to become of them? Who would take them? You know, the problem is horses have a monetary value, and most people only want horses that they can ride or do something with. And these horses, some of them are very old, you know, and are retired. Some of them have ailments. So I tend to have the most difficult cases here that nobody else wants. So the option wasn't very good. You know, the alternative, well, was the ultimate. You know, and I couldn't do that. I'd rather throw myself in the river than do that. I couldn't do that to them. You know, no way.
Yeah. And just turning to the people that actually come to the centre, I believe that you do have people that come from quite some distance to stay with you and to help and to help train the horses.
Well, pre-COVID, I was taking in students from Germany, a lot of girls from Germany, Poland, England, all over the place, really. And so they'd come for a month, 2 months. One girl has actually been back 12 times.
Oh.
Some of them have been back 3 or 4 times. And they, you know, they really, for some of them, it's been life-changing, you know, because it teaches them a lot about themselves as well. Working with the horses, it's all about body language, and body language doesn't lie. So you learn a lot about yourself and how you react and how the horses interact with you. It's a special kind of training, and it's all about connecting with the horse, asking the horse to work with you as opposed to forcing it. A bit like a dance partner dancing, you know, and getting that connection and that special telepathic communication. And so, some of the girls, it's turned their lives around. But then, unfortunately, when COVID came along, it became very difficult for obvious reasons, you know. So for the past 18 months, we haven't had many girls here, and we've had to be very careful. We've got a girl coming next month from Germany for a month. And I've had a couple of girls that were with me before that came over to help when Alan died. So that was a difficult time. We're sort of setting off again, if you like.
Mm. And you mentioned the connection, the special connection. Do you find that certain of these young people that come over connect with a certain horse?
Yeah, it's quite amazing, really, because there's one horse that I use always as a first time lesson, you know, because she's particularly good at, she's sort of taken the role on at teaching students. And when I see how they get on with her, and if they progress, then I've got 3 horses that I use basically. And one of them is the difficult one. And one girl I had here who came from Poland, the one that's been 12 times, before she came here, she had no experience with horses whatsoever. But she actually achieved a special connection with this horse. And
Wow.
she loved this horse to bits because she said, this horse has taught me so much about myself. And she achieved an amazing bond with this horse. So that was quite fantastic to see.
Terrific. I think that's something that a lot of people watching weren't aware of. I think that if you talk about an equine rescue centre, if I can call it that, then it's all about the horses. But obviously, from what you're saying, there's a massive advantage for human beings as well.
Yeah, I never looked at it that way in the beginning, to be honest. You know, I was just thinking about the horses, retraining them, helping them. And when I started teaching students to work with the horses, then I started finding myself again, finding another sort of niche, if you like, and understanding their body language and their connection with the horses, and psychoanalyzing the people as well, which was teaching them about themselves and why they were acting in certain ways, and which they've said to me since has helped them in their lives as well, even relating to people. So it's been quite an amazing experience all around.
Yeah, that must be another source of pride and satisfaction for you, and that not only are you helping the horses, but these people, these young people as well. Yeah. Okay. Just give us some idea of your daily routine. I mean, I've got a good idea what it is, but just enlighten our viewers, will you? Because it's quite astonishing, really, the time that you start in the morning for a start.
Yeah, well, it has to be run military style fashion because, again, the horses can tell the time. You know, they're looking at their watch and saying, "Come on, where's my breakfast?" You know, you can't sleep in. I can't remember what a line was like. I mean, that was over 20 years ago, I think. Yeah, so we start at 7:45, 8 o'clock. They get their breakfast because they're all in night quarters. They get their breakfast. Then we put hay down in the fields and then we turn them out to play with their friends. So we've got basically two separate big fields. So we've got a little herd group down the front and a herd group that go out the back. We've got nearly 5 acres, 16,000 square meters. So they've got a lot of space to roam around. They love that routine. They go out to play with their friends. Then we water, muck out, prepare the hay nets for the night, prepare the feed for the night, treat any ailments that need treating. And then we break for breakfast, and then there's other animals to feed.
Yes. Yeah. I was amazed at that. You know, Val and I, when we visited you, really just expected to see a group of horses, but oh no, there's a lot more to.
Yeah, there's chickens and free range. It's a wildlife sanctuary. A peacock, a duck, dogs, cats, you name it. We even had a raccoon dumped on us once. Would you believe?
Yeah, fantastic. Just on that note, and it is something that I asked you, I think yesterday. Someone on one of my Mijas walking tours was asking if it's possible to visit the centre, and I think it is, but it's fairly limited, isn't it? Because you're so busy for most of the day, most days.
Yeah, I had a lady visit today who's coming on the 20th. And I had to go and meet her at the trot show because, again, most people can't find us. And she was here. She came for a couple of hours and I showed her around. But it is very much a time thing and it's distance for people. And where I can, I will try and fit in people and to visit. But I can, because of the situation, I can only do it by arrangement. And because, you know, there's always something happening with farriers, hay deliveries, having to buy food, you know, and then, of course, I didn't mention, but after that, we've got bring the horses in the evenings and start all over again. So the day's pretty full. And also I have a lot of admin and office work and marketing and PR and accounts and the list goes on, apart from trying to fit in household duties and all the rest of it, you know. So the day is pretty. So what I have to do is kind of plan out my weeks in advance, providing it all runs smoothly, and then I can try and fit people in.
Yeah,
so
you just talked about.
Really keen to come, I can do it, yeah.
Right, good. You did just touch on the admin side of things, and I've got to say that, you know, S.E.A.R.C.H is the nominated charity for the Simply Surviving group for October, and you've had a lot of reaction and a lot of compliments about the effort that you've gone to put posts on the Simply Surviving group Facebook page to tell us more about your work and the individual horses in your care. That has gone down extremely well, sir.
Oh, that's good. Well, that's great because I thought I wanted to take the opportunity while I've got it to actually try and explain to people how it works and what we do, because I do understand that most people, especially, you know, non-horse people, just, you know, I mean, I have people say to me things like, oh, well, you know, the horses is just out in the field and that's it, sort of thing. And they and also people don't understand horses. A lot of people are frightened of horses. And so I thought, well, I'll try to explain to people, you know, that horses are very sensitive, intelligent animals and a bit like dogs, if you like, and that, you know, they need a lot of care and attention. And this is what's involved and this is what we do. So that people can understand horses better. It's like when I get the students, the reason why I want to teach them is because I want them to go back to their country and show people that there are nicer ways of training horses. I mean, some of the methods of training horses are so cruel. And all people see is this horse prancing around, looking beautiful, they just don't know the cruel methods that are employed to do that with those horses. So there again, I'm trying to show people, you know, there is a nicer way of doing things, and it's possible, and it works, and the results can be absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah, brilliant. Good for you. Well, the thing is, as you know, that Simply Surviving have a dinner event coming up next Wednesday. And I'm willing to bet the fact that we are oversubscribed, we've got 125 people coming to dinner with a waiting list. And I'm willing to bet that part of the success of this event is down to you.
Oh, wow,
And
thank you.
well, I think so. And the efforts that you've gone to, as you say, explain to people exactly what your work is all about.
Oh, that's great. I'm just overwhelmed, and thank you so much for you. It couldn't have happened at a better time that you've stepped in to help, you know, because the other thing is that with my husband, we worked together. I mean, he was a great support for me, obviously, and he supported everything I do. But we could put on events at home, or we could do garden parties, and he'd do the catering, you know, and all that stuff. So the two of us could do things like that. But now on my own, I'm just so limited to actually raise funds as well. So I'm just so grateful that you've come along to help. Thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome, really. You've just stolen one of my questions, actually. That, you know, how do you fundraise? What's your major method of it? I mean, I guess you've answered that it's quite curtailed now. But are you doing anything at all? Are you able to?
I'm doing a quiz on Saturday. I do a monthly quiz. I've managed to reinstate that because my husband used to do that. And I've got a couple of friends that do the questions. So we organise a little quiz at a local bar. And we fit that in the afternoon. People have asked me if I can do it in an evening, but I can't do evenings because I don't finish the horses till late. So again, I'm limited on that, but that's once a month. I have managed to do a coffee morning for about 30 people because, again, I can manage that on my own, doing coffee and cake. When we first started S.E.A.R.C.H, we actually had a little market that we were running on a Sunday, and all profits from that, again, went to the horses. We used to do a backpack in Iceland every 3 or 4 months in Mijas. We were doing the garden parties 2 or 3 times a year. And all these things that we did do, you know, are no longer possible. We have got a couple of regular donors that do give us regular money every month to help sponsor the horses. So that helps enormously because obviously it's a monthly budget with the feed and the farrier and the hay. Hay being our biggest expense. We have a big hay delivery every month. And again, people don't realise that in Spain we haven't got grass like you have in England. So really, we're feeding horses hay all year round.
Yeah.
So that's something that we have to do.
You've got you have a couple of regular donations, which is good, and obviously and whatever money we can raise for you in Simply Surviving Group will help. But if people are watching this and are impressed by the work that you're doing, how can they actually make a direct donation to you, sir?
Well, there's 2 ways. If you look on our website, www.S.E.A.R.C.H, that's search, as you pointed out, without the A, S.E.A.R.C.H. With search engine, you can't get a website in that name. The bank details are on there, so they can either do a monthly bank transfer or PayPal. You can set up a standing order with PayPal, and that's PayPal.info@S.E.A.R.C.H.es. So that's
I'm
2
sure
ways of doing it.
That Bill's scribbling those down now, and he'll probably put them up either now or when the program actually finishes. Just to remind viewers that you can watch this program anytime back after the program is finished by clicking on the link, which will be up on the Simply Surviving Group Facebook page. Is there any other kind of support that you need, Sue, apart from financial support?
Well, at the moment, I'm very lucky. I've got a couple of maintenance men helping me out. And since Alan died, everything went wrong, as you can imagine. You know, burst water pipes, leaky guttering, holes in roofs, you know, you name it, it happened. and all that stuff I can't do. You know, broken fences. The list goes on and on. So fortunately, that's kind of been sorted now. I've got a girl coming at the moment a couple of times a week, and I started training again with the horses, which is what I really wanted to do, because the horses actually love the training. You know, I'd have one horse in the ring, and you'd have two waiting outside saying, "Me next, my turn." They love the attention. I mean, the fact that they love to work with you is just amazing, you know, and that's how it should be. So there's the practical side, but you know, it's difficult for people volunteering because of the hours and the early hours and the distance and where we are, the location. Obviously, you know, mucking out is always a big thing and has to be done every day, and that's physical hard work. It is very, very physical work. Even lugging hay nets around that, you know, weigh 20 kilos or something. So, you know, we're quite limited in that respect. But at this moment in time, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that you know, everything's going to work out okay.
Yeah, one of your Men Friday was on my Mijas walking tour today.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seemed to enjoy it, and he's
Good.
obviously very, very passionate about horses as well.
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing, you know, because the thing about volunteering is that you have to have horse experience because it can be quite dangerous. I mean, sometimes I've had people coming to me with children saying, "Oh, the kids want to come and help," and I said, "Well, first of all, we're not covered by insurance because we're not a riding school, you know. We're a charity. We're not covered by that sort of insurance, and it can be dangerous, especially with children." So again, that's, you know, the horses are free to roam around. It's not a possibility. So there's all sorts of connotations in it, and also a lot of people aren't physically able to do the heavy work that's involved. I'm just trying to keep fit.
Somebody does want to get involved or volunteer. Does it necessarily mean you know, an ongoing regular commitment, or is it the kind of thing that can dip in and out of according to their...
No, the dip in and out is difficult because of the routine. You know, I've had people say to me, "Can I just turn up when I feel like it?" And I've said, "Well, no, because this is what we do and how we do it. And also because it's my home, I have to fit in, you know, household duties and cooking and shopping and, you know, running around. So my days have to be worked out in advance by the hour, literally."
Yeah, we haven't, have we, that your house is right in the middle of all this?
Yeah, which is unusual because most places aren't on people's property, you know.
Yeah.
So they kind of open at a certain time and close time, but here I'm 24/7.
Yeah. Just one final question. I just wonder, in all these last 10 years of S.E.A.R.C.H, is there one particular memory, one particular moment that stands out as being one of real pride or one of real achievement, or whatever you want to say?
Yeah, I thought about this, and there was something quite amazing. I've talked about Jeannie, the brood mare, on Facebook. The fact that when she came to us, she'd had about 10 foals in about 10 years, and she was past her sell-by date and she was going for slaughter. But she was already 9 months pregnant, and she wasn't expected to give birth to a live foal. That's why they were dispatching her. And she was in such a poor state that, you know, we didn't think she would either. But we gave her a lot of TLC and we gave her extra, you know, nutrition, slowly built her up. And then she did actually give birth to a live, healthy foal. And she was a month overdue. And the vet did explain to me that this is nature's way of enabling the foal to get the nutrition it needed. So that was amazing in itself. And then it was 11 o'clock one night and it was quite dark. And we could hear the horses whinnying and nickering. And we looked over and all the horses were lined up against the fence watching as she gave birth.
Wow.
It was just something biblical. It was just incredible.
Did you manage to catch that on camera? I
managed to catch. I've put one of the photographs on Facebook of when the foal was born and her umbilical cord is still attached. And she was born jet black, so we called her Ebony. She stayed with us 5 years. We trained her, and she's now gone to a wonderful life in Germany.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look,
Yeah.
so time has beaten us.
Yeah.
But I want to thank you ever so much for coming on. Bill has joined us.
I have been here, but you just couldn't see me.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you. And I
Sue,
look
thank
forward to seeing you next week.
Listen, I think I've got some photographs which I've taken from your Facebook page. Maybe just before we go, we could take a little look at these.
Ah,
Here we go.
yeah. That's the horse I was talking about with her friend Noelle, and that's Paddy the pony in the background. That's one of the peacocks again with Amada, the horse I was talking about.
I wasn't sure what I was looking at first time. I thought, is it a badger? Is it a funny coloured badger? And I
No,
realised
it's a
it was a
peacock.
peacock. Yeah.
That's Amada again, looking happy and relaxed. This is a horse that that's in foster care at the moment. She's had 16 owners in 22 years, and we're in the process of getting her rehomed. So I've had to arrange for a passport and everything, and she's actually travelling to Benidorm next week.
Wow. Sue, thank you so much. It's been very interesting. And Alan, thank you. And Val, and all of you who are working so hard with the Simply Surviving group. And well, I know you're going to have a great night. 125. Just as well we're back into level 0, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
They can pack the place now. It's no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. That's
So
fantastic. See you next week.
thank
Yeah,
you so
look forward
much.
to seeing you next week. So
Yeah.
Take care, everyone. Thanks to those of you who joined in. We were joined by Katie Darlow, who's going to be coming over, I think, the end of next week. Katie, nice to have you with us as well. Alan, thank you. Sue, thank you so much for joining us. And we will be back next week at 7 o'clock with Daniela Veng, who is going to be explaining what she's cooking up. That's a clue, in Calaonda from the 22nd of October. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Good
Bye.
night.
thank
Bye.
you. Good night.